What's a good word, everyone? I'm Kenny Vaughn, the owner of SportsHaveBalls.com. Welcome to the first Sports Have Balls college football preview show. 15 games at minimum we're going to take a look at. So we're going to start with one of tonight's games. Kansas, UNLV. We have a standalone Kansas State video. But today, Kansas minus 9.5 against UNLV with a total of 57.5. 40 seconds to let me just tell you, right before we get started, SportsHaveBalls.com is the name of my site. When you join and get your 1 week, 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, year long, whatever one you want, we're giving you 4 days free. Why? Because we get a good portion of our games earlier in the week. Now, we still have 5 that when you join us is going to be during those first 4 free days. We want to show you how we got Manchester City, minus 575 team at minus 110 to win. Florida State to just win in another bet. And then if Alabama and Georgia win tomorrow, there's another win in our cap. And the Lions minus 1. Because we set up early in the week for a few of them. We still have 5 more that are regular flat Saturday, Sunday games. So there's plenty, and we're going to add more. So UNLV is plus 9.5. This one was 6.5, 7. Going forward, going earlier in the week. So I think you missed the boat if you wanted Kansas. UNLV 9.5. Hang out for a 10, or does it come back to 9? Well, let's talk about it a little bit. Now this is a rematch of the bowl game, 49-36 by Kansas, where Mr. Bean threw for 6 touchdowns, not Jalen Daniels. Jalen Daniels coming off a game where he had 3 picks. Now, the interceptions are a little more troubling than losing fumbles, which are random once it hits the ground. So, 3 turnovers in a game where they outgained Illinois 327 to 271. But Kansas is back at home. But what I want to tell you about Kansas back at home, they're playing in a soccer field. They're not playing in Lawrence. And going forward, this Kansas team is going to be playing their last 4 at Arrowhead. So keep in mind this isn't a great home field advantage. UNLV, on the other hand, I guess their win against Houston looks a little better after a 27-7 win at Houston as a 4-point dog. And they got the job done against Houston. And Houston goes to Oklahoma, where when Oklahoma's offensive line got hurt, they were able to hang in there defensively. So it looks a little bit better of a UNLV win. The total here is 57.5. And I can see this turning into a shootout, but I just can't have the conviction in that. Barry Odom, UNLV coach, is pretty good, solid as an underdog. So if I had to lean towards this game, I would lean towards a UNLV plus 9.5 spot. I mean, when you want a premium plays, just sportshatballs.com, get involved. 4 days free. Alabama, Wisconsin to start off Saturday. Alabama, at last check, 16.5. Wisconsin, 40 over Wisconsin with 49. Now, people like to say about Wisconsin and their home field, I don't buy that as being such a huge home field, especially at noon. At night, you could convince me more, but at noon, don't care about your jump around at the end of 3 quarters. You can jump around all you want because the speed kills. Alabama's speed, it feels like they're gonna be on full display here. This is a team where I could make an argument that South Florida is just as good as Wisconsin. And although they struggled with South Florida, they still accidentally won by 26. And when you have a point spread that's like less than 3 scores or is under that 17 especially, I have to put a little bit of check mark into Alabama. As far as the look-ahead spot goes for Alabama, it's a fake look-ahead spot because they got a week off, then they play the Dogs. So I take the look-ahead spot away in that terms. Then I look at what's Wisconsin done. They got a bad quarterback with Van Dyke. Or maybe I shouldn't say bad, I should say more of an average. 17 of 27 against South Dakota. Not South Dakota State, South Dakota. a top 10 team in the FCS, but still not great. He was only 21 for 36 against Western Michigan, which took forever to pull away from them at 28-14, scoring late to where they were one-score games late that turned into two-score games. So they've been very unimpressive. Van Dyke, I could definitely see as a turnover machine in this type of game. I could see Alabama accidentally winning this and pulling away. Whether it makes the card, we'll see. But, I can only go towards Alabama. As far as the total, 49, not a strong opinion. As we look at the next one, my next one's kind of a fun one. Florida State 6.5 over Memphis. This came out, and I was just like, what in the world? It came out as Florida State -5. I love when people just look at one side. It's going to be later with Notre Dame. It'll be later with LSU in games that we do. Because they only look at the one side. They don't look at the other side. They just said, Florida State, they're terrible. And then in the next breath, they're impressed with Boston College beating Florida State. So which is it? But anyway, I digress. This is a point spread that would have been 15-16 if they would have started the season off. And this is no disrespect to Memphis. We know they're one of the better group of 5 teams. But truth be told, who did Florida State go against? They went against Georgia Tech, right? With Hayne Kings, can run all over the place. Thomas Castellanos for Boston College ran all over him last year, ran him all over him this year. What does Memphis have? Seth Hennigan, not a runner. What does he have? 2 carries that aren't kneel downs in 2 games. He's a bit of a statue. He's a good quarterback, especially for that level. I want to make that abundantly clear. But not someone that's going to buy time and kill Florida State like these guys have done. Now, we look at Mike Norvell, right, at Memphis. As a road dog, 2-8. That's not something great to look at. So spread 6.5. Total is 54. So I think you would have a 10-point spread on this game if the coin flip Georgia Tech game, if they block a field goal or the field goal's missed and Florida State comes down and gets a field goal, this would be 10-11. But now, I think when you have 2 games like this, I think you really do have the overreaction. Can Memphis punch him in the mouth like Boston College did? I'm not so sure, especially without a mobile quarterback. I would favor Florida State in a discounted price range. Now let's look at a late game. Why not? We don't have to go in time order. Let's go to the late game. California, 17.5 against San Diego State in Cal with a total of 48.5. And this 48.5 is what we like. And we like the under. And why? This San Diego State offense is as bad as it gets right now. What's so great about this, especially right now, is maybe later in the year, but definitely early next year, San Diego State will be an over team. But right now, talk about a square peg into a round hole. That's what Sean Lewis has stepped into. Who's Sean Lewis? The head coach of San Diego State. He had Kent State going big time from 2018 to 2022. He had them flying, flash, playing that great offense. And he'll get these guys there. He just won't get them there this week. The best thing I can say about Sean Lewis is they poached him. Dion Primetime poached him and got him to run the offense at Colorado last year. Great. I'm glad Sean Lewis was able to escape that mess and maybe go back there when Dion quits next year. But I really like him as a coach. They want to play fast. They just can't. They just don't have the athletes. They don't have the right people that they that they recruited. It's not his players. It's not his system. O'Neal at quarterback isn't going to cut it for this type of offense. And you look at Cal. Now, Cal, really good win. Decent team out of the ACC. Got a good win on the road against Auburn. Awesome. a nice 21-14. I don't look for an explosive offense out of Cal. I look for a team that's going to balance, run the ball, eventually wear down San Diego State. I don't want to give 17.5 with Cal type team. Not really a blowout team. Plus, the spot isn't the best with going to Auburn, getting a big win at Auburn as a double-digit underdog, coming back home for this flat spot, but their home opener, but a flat spot. And then next week they open ACC play at Florida State. So it's a bit of a sandwich type spot. It could be a sleepwalk 20-6 type game. But that's where I really like the under. When you look at San Diego State, lost 21-0 to Oregon State. Now this isn't going to be the best defense of all time at Oregon State. But what really concerns me is they were down to Texas A&M Commerce. Yeah, Commerce. FCS school that's never going to go to the playoffs. And they were down 6-3 at the half. Yes, their offense clicked up and wore them down because they're just bigger, stronger, faster, and have more athletes. But 6 quarters of scoring 3 points. I love that for the under here. If Cal does pull, really starts pulling away, 31-3 max. So I kind of like the under in this type of situation. Notre Dame is where I guess I'm out on a limb. And Notre Dame was 9.5. I had to cross that out because they went down to 7.5. And then I seen them go back to 8. And this is all in the last hour. I think there's conflicting news on whether Riley Leonard is going to play. And, of course, now everyone's going to say Riley Leonard, who went on the road in a defensive slobber knocker against Texas A&M, is awful. And now they start making fun of Notre Dame. They're taking these bottom-tier teams with quarterbacks. Sam Hartman and Riley Leonard. Everyone needs to chill out because people love to hate on Notre Dame, so remember that. But the spread down to 7.5, 8, that kind of tells me maybe Riley Leonard's not playing. Now this is Purdue. I mean, here's the stat that I don't know if this has ever happened. This is Notre Dame's not one, not two, but third game against an FBS school. Purdue, it's their first game against an FBS school. They played an FCS school, scrimmage, a bad Indiana State team who never makes the playoffs in the FCS, then had a week off, and now they're going to get Notre Dame, a team I don't think they're going to be able to move the ball against. I believe this would be a 24-6 type game where people might say, oh, Notre Dame got lucky, they look terrible. The truth is their defense is really good, and getting turnovers from a Purdue offense, I think that could definitely step up. Can they get the running game going? I think they can. This is a below-average Purdue defense, and I think Northern Illinois was a big-time flat spot. I don't think Notre Dame's going to throw in the towel and say we can't make the playoff. No matter personally what you believe or I believe in terms of I don't think they have the schedule to make the playoff, I don't think that's going to be the mentality of Notre Dame going forward. So I would lean towards Notre Dame. Can you really pull a trigger, though, on a team who has not been able to score points? That's the decision we got to make, but we send you the info. So that's what we got for Notre Dame. Then we go to everyone's most polarizing team in the world, the Colorado Buffaloes, laying 7 against Colorado State, 59 points. Now, anyone that takes Colorado and gives points, I wish luck to you if I'm not on the other side. But you cannot say if Travis Henry doesn't get hurt, they would have won and covered. No. He's going to play over 200 snaps every game. So sooner or later, he's going to get hurt, and this could be the game. It's just fact. So let's go to Colorado State. Let's give some pub to Colorado State. So what did they do? They got Jay Norvell, year 1, 3-9, establishing, trying to do something. Year 2, last year, 5-7, getting better. 22-point underdogs to this Colorado team, and had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. Couldn't hold it on because of the fly in the ointment for taking Colorado State. Colorado can run them off the field. They can. They have the speed to definitely do this. And Colorado State blasted by Texas. Arguably as good as number one team in the country for some. But at least arguably that. And then they beat Northern Colorado, a bad FCS school. Got some things back. They like their quarterback play. Now we got Shedeur Sanders for Colorado. Now, as much as I think he's going to be a bust in the next level, at this level, he's exciting and great. But what is he doing? He reminds me of a guy that was called Dean, as in Dean Martin. He reminds me of Remember the Titans, when this Dean bought his time, and then what happened? The Rev got hurt. In a big game, in not a big game, but in a regular season game, Rev, he misses the block on purpose. Why do I bring that up? Well, why should he block for him? That was a whole different reason. Now, it's never Shedeur Sanders' fault for throwing an interception, return for a touchdown. Nothing is his fault. The offensive line, which, by the way, is awful, he throws him under the bus. I don't care how bad. I don't care. You did not see David Carr throw his Houston Texans offensive line with 76 sacks under the bus. He doesn't take responsibility for running too much, trying to get too much and losing even more yards. He doesn't say anything about we should run the ball more. No. He rips apart the O-line. You think that O-line, they're going to be like, well, we suck anyway, so if you get hurt, so what? And it reminds me of the Cleveland Browns-Dallas Cowboy game also, where if you watched some of that game, Deshaun Watson, boom, tries to help his offensive line guy off the ground, and he just said, no, because I don't care about you. Go to jail already. So now Shedeur Sanders is no jail, nothing bad off the field in terms of breaking the law. Don't get me wrong there. Get me right on. I just see a lot of contention with Colorado. So just like Dean wouldn't block for the Rev, I don't see like this team, and that's another point. I don't see this team going, oh, Colorado State, we're in a rivalry game. I don't see it that way. Colorado State, super interested. Probably thinks they really should have won last year when they lost in double overtime after having a double-digit lead as a 22-point underdog. Now it's a 7-point spread. The speed of Colorado is what would scare me if you take Colorado State plus the 7 points. There could be points in this game, but Jay Norvell, 3-9, 5-7. There's been absolutely no improvement to Colorado. What were they last year? Couldn't play defense. Offensive line's terrible. Never even tried to run the ball. What are they this year? Defense is horrible. We decided not to recruit any offensive linemen, and they are where they are. All he wants to do is coach his kid through the school, then go on and move on, and blame the offensive line for almost ending his career. I think what's going on with Henry, I really hope Henry just gets out of this situation and goes to the NFL as soon as possible before they take all his playing days away. This is worse than a running back running 400 times in college in 1 year. Playing both ways hurts the kid. So I would lean towards Colorado State. Whether I can actually pull a trigger on them when you get your sports pack deal, you will know. 4 days free because we set ourselves up. What do we set ourselves up with? Bama and the Dogs win. We win it. We win what is it? We win a minus 120 parlay. If Florida State wins, we win a minus 10 game. If Man City has a minus 575 here wins, we got them at minus 110 because the line's minus 1. We set ourselves up for Saturday and Sunday and add as we go along even later in the day. So that's why we're going to give you 4 picks, 4 days free when you sign up with us at sportsatballs.com. As we get to Oklahoma State, 18.5 over Tulsa. I think the spot, people always talk about the spot. Sometimes it matters and sometimes it doesn't. I think it's baked into what the line is right now. Oklahoma State, 18.5 at Tulsa. It was 21. Why was it 21 and now it's 18.5? It's the coming off the Arkansas game, big time. You know, people who really get into this know how big a sandwich spot this is. It's a sandwich because they made a great comeback against Arkansas. However you want to put it, Arkansas gave the game away. However you want to dish it out, it was an emotional big win. You got Utah on deck with a hurt quarterback, maybe no Rising. You know, could be the key to get to the next level to get to that Big 12 title game. Question is, how good is Oklahoma State? They got outgained last year in the Big 12. But everyone's returning. And it's like, even if you think they kind of everything went right and they overachieved last year, the confidence level is going to be sky high. And having that many people returning is really just outstanding for this team. Now, this team could accidentally cover when they wear Tulsa down and Ollie Gordon gets going in the second half, because you can run the ball and run up the score accidentally. So this getting below 21, I think this sandwich stuff gets thrown out the window. I know it's Tulsa's Super Bowl, but you got to give me something from Tulsa, and I don't see much from Tulsa. I see a redshirt freshman at quarterback. I don't see these guys being able to step up. So as much as you love this, as one might love the spot to go against Oklahoma State, I think the value's gone as it's down to 18.5. Texas, San Antonio. Okay, 35.5. Now, this was 34.5, 35. You know, I wouldn't go past 35 with this one, but Texas, San Antonio is down. They lost their quarterback from last year. This program is down this year. 49-10, Texas State took them out. Took them out behind the woodshed. Now you got Texas. Yes, it is a letdown spot. They only got Monroe on deck, so they might be a little bit bored right now. Coming off that demolition of Michigan, obviously. But the truth is, this is not last year's Texas San Antonio. I mean, maybe some people don't know about Texas San Antonio the last few years, knowing that, 3 years ago when Texas being by 20, Texas was only favored by 13 for a reason, because these guys were up. This is not that team. Now, I believe Texas will somewhat be able to name their score if interested at all. This is one where I would 35, I could pull a trigger. 34.5, I could pull a trigger. Gets over 35, not really too excited about it. 38-3, but I could only go for Texas on this one. Now here's one, like Notre Dame. I'll be out on by myself probably with most of you guys, but LSU going under a touchdown to 6.5 over South Carolina. Now before the year started, I was definitely down on South Carolina, a little bit up on LSU. I think people saying how bad their defense is a little overblown. South Carolina's defense, that was an 85-90 last year. I think that's going to get overblown about what they've done. So what did they do? They had a very impressive win against Old Dominion when they got their 4-1 turnover edge and beat Old Dominion 23-19. Can't read my writing, but they only had 305 yards against Old Dominion. I mean, this is really bad stuff. Against Kentucky, you want to go, oh yeah, but look what they did. Kentucky, they blew their doors in. Yeah, they blew their doors in with 252 yards, 79 yards of rushing. I think that was overblown. I truly believe in the toss-up game that LSU lost, that's getting blown out of proportion because if they survive that coin flip game, they're favored by 10 here. I think you're getting line value with LSU. I think their offense will be able to roll over this defense, even on the road. I feel like I'm in the minority with that opinion, but I think LSU is a real good team, and people want to hate on their coach, hate on whatever. I think they're a good play in that game. Now, let's look at Missouri. Mizzou, 15.5 over Boston College with a total of 53.5. Now, because Boston College got ranked, because they beat Florida State, Syracuse beat Georgia Tech, Boston College gets ranked. Okay, I get it. But Boston College gets ranked. Now you got Missouri's attention, I think. Missouri, who's outscored their opponent 89-0, was it Murray State and Buffalo? And Buffalo's maybe the worst FBS school. Doesn't matter. They were able to do what they were supposed to do. If this is week 2, week 1, I think this line is 19-20. But now I think you're getting a little bit of value on this. I mean, people talk out of both sides of their mouth, and it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, Florida State sucks. And then it's like, Boston College beat Florida State. Florida State sucks, but it's a great. But they dominated on the line of scrimmage. That's what was so impressive about Boston College. Can they run the ball against this, what I believe will end up being a solid defense? Mizzou, most balanced offense you're going to see out there. They're going to be a team that runs for 250, runs for 200, passes for 200. And they got you got Brady Cook back, experienced, can run and throw. But the truth is, it's really going to be all about the start of the game in terms of who's going to cover this spread. If you see 10-7, 13-7, and Boston College can still do their run with their quarterback, who's actually gotten a little bit better with his throwing ability, if they can hang that first quarter. If you look up and Missouri's up 14-0, and now BC gets out of their rhythm of running and trying to just keep things close, I think it could really separate big time. I think that the big start of Missouri, because I think that's a team, and I think that's what they're going to do as a team going forward. I think they could get out ahead in this game. Slightly to the over. I think Missouri. If this was actually to make a premium play, would be the one I would take on a free bet. So that's what we got for that. Remember to see what we actually do have. SportsAdBalls.com. It's linked right here. So Texas Tech, North Texas. I had to do this. Why? Because we want to try to give value. We don't have to just go, oh, look at these popular teams. Let's get wins. Texas Tech -10 against North Texas with a total of 59. Now, with a defense that lets up 51 points to Abilene Christian, I'm not sure how you can give 10 points. So I automatically go, okay, Texas Tech against this Mean Green defense, they're going to be able to move the ball. They're going to be able to score. Name all the names, whatever. What do we got at North Texas? A 52-38 win over South Alabama, who just put up 87 points. And a 35-20 win over Stephen F. Austin. A team that can move the ball. And this Texas Tech offense, or defense, is gosh darn awful. So who's leading this charge for North Texas? You got it. Chandler Morris of TCU. He found a perfect spot. He's got to come down a level, but now he can start dominating. 700 yards in 2 games, 7 touchdowns. The little fly in the ointment I don't like is 3 interceptions, but still more than a 2-to-1 ratio. Plus a team that is used to scoring, that believes they can score, and you're giving them 10 points. Now the 10 points could be fine in a 61-42 47 game. So if I was to touch this game, I don't think I'd take the North Texas side because points don't mean as much when the total is so much. So a 52-41 game, you feel like you won, but you really didn't. So if anything, I would touch the over. With the way the clock runs, you start getting 69-70, it gets a little dicey. It's almost like all of a sudden there's a couple field goals here and there, and you're sitting at 35-27 final. So I would lean towards an over in that. I look for points to be scored in that game for sure. All right, Auburn, New Mexico, the one everyone's been waiting for. Auburn minus 27 over New Mexico with a total of 59.5. Believe it or not, I think this number looks really small. New Mexico. Okay, let's look at Auburn. Coming off a 21-14 loss to Cal. Arkansas on deck. I don't see a sandwich spot. I don't see a look-ahead spot. I look a team for a team that's just want to make themselves well. Their QB, Thorne, 4 interceptions last week. Not good. They had 4 interceptions, lost by 7 to a pretty good Cal team. Now, is this guy going to get better as they go? Hugh Freeze could get him better. But I think they're going to easily run against New Mexico in this spot. And if you're able to run the play action pass and everything will keep going. And the key as they get ready for Arkansas is to have Thorne as confident as possible. So maybe they leave him in there a little bit longer. Now, when we look at the New Mexico side, okay, they played FCS Montana State, lost 35-31, led up 567 yards, and the really bad part, which shows how Auburn can cover this, even if they're only up 24 in the fourth, 362 yards rushing by Montana State against New Mexico. In New Mexico, not good at all. Arizona, 627 yards. Another 205 rushing yards. So over 400 yards passing by Arizona. Then they lost 35-31 and 61-39. Auburn defense and SEC Auburn defense are not going to let up these 39 and 31 points. They're gonna focus in. So I could see this offense really getting right, making this 27, and it's come down from 28, all because Auburn's offense, they can't do this, they can't do that. You can when you actually look at the other side. People, I think, too much just look at the one side, the popular team, the team that was ranked early, and don't look at the other side and go, can that team take advantage of the weakness of the better team? I don't think New Mexico can, and I see, Auburn did put up 73 against a really, really, really bad FCS school. I could see them putting up 50. If they put up 40, I think this will be fine. And I feels like 40 is low. Like 40-13 seems like a very low, close game in this situation. So, I think Auburn's loss gave us 5-6 points of value. All right, Georgia, Kentucky. What can you get out of Georgia, Kentucky? How bad did Kentucky's offense look last week? As pathetic as possible. And it ain't going to get any easier here. You got Georgia minus 22 with a total of 44.5. And this has been going down. So the whole game under, I think, is lost value. You could have had 46.5 or 47. Now you're betting a bad number. You bet bad numbers, and you can lose. The first half is minus 13. So it's like, I feel like a first half team total of Georgia would only need to be 14. There could be turnovers. There could be sleepwalking. I've seen Georgia sleepwalk to 24-3 wins in this type of thing, where they drive it down, this a field goal, they drive it down. I mean, look at the Clemson game. It was 6-0 at the half, and it's just like, you know, that might have been early season rustiness. This can just be like, this is a team we beat 51-13. The last 5 years, twice Kentucky scored 13. They scored under 10 in all the rest. I think the best value is something like an under 10.5, because it is right now, at least at Bet Online, Kentucky's team total is 10.5, and that might be the best spot. The bugaboo with that is 45-6, and then they score with 41 seconds left. But I think that's the best value. Something with an under with Kentucky, going against Kentucky in that type of game. The next one I even debated whether to do, but had some opinions on it. Texas A&M, Florida. In Florida, Texas A&M -4. How a team that couldn't score at home against Notre Dame, great defense by the way, is a 4-point favorite. Well, let's look into it. With a total of 46. What's Florida going to have at quarterback? So, are they going to come out with Napier and go, okay, Graham Mertz is in protocol, even though he was decent last year. They have DJ Lagway. Granted, it was against Samford, an FCS school, borderline playoff team. They got a 5-star recruit with DJ Lagway. It might be the perfect time to go with them and just go, all right, we're going. Let's go. Instead of just going with Graham Mertz, protocol. Say he's in protocol. Keep him out. Connor Weidman, the quarterback, in that slobber knocker, not impressive against Notre Dame. And you're going to take a team that's not impressive and give over a field goal in the swamp at night? I don't think that's the best idea. Miami. Texas A&M's offense is not Miami. They're not going to be able to take advantage through the air like Miami did. Florida was decent against Miami against the run. So I think you take points. I don't know who's favored by 4. You probably just take the points. And if you get a home dog, I think by the amount that Florida lost to Miami is what's really driving this. But, Notre Dame beat Texas A&M, and what's Notre Dame look like now? So it'll be very interesting for my purposes, as I sit back and watch the game and might not have a bet on it, is I want to see DJ Lagway and see if he can light up a good defense. Can he do some good things in the swamp with everything being comfortable after getting a lot of confidence like we want for Thorne in Auburn? He got some confidence. First time in, Samford, perfect time to put him in. Let's see if he can take over the job. The last game we're looking at, Indiana, favored by 3 over UCLA with a total of 46. Now, this has to be the absolute biggest, huge, I can't say it loud enough, mismatch in the coaching. Kurt Cignetti is an unbelievably outstanding coach, as good as anybody. Put him up there with guy escapes my thought right now at Willingham at Utah. He's that good. I've seen him at the FCS level as my Grizz, who are right now we're in a rough relationship right now, but I've seen him at the FCS level in what he did with James Madison. Continued with James Madison. Takes it to the next level. Takes James Madison to the next level. Still dominates. He's going to do the same thing here at Indiana. And this UCLA team could be the worst team in the Big Ten. And they got Deshaun Foster at coach. The best thing Deshaun Foster has said in the press conference so far is, we're in LA. UCLA is in LA. Thanks. This offensive line has, let's just say, a lot to be desired. Garber's at quarterback. Sorry, ain't going to cut it. Is their defense okay? Well, they did hold Hawaii down. A game that you can't even say UCLA won. I mean, Hawaii just gift-wrapped that game to UCLA. Now UCLA's stepping up big. There's a huge reason why Indiana is a 3-point favorite. The reason they're only a 3-point favorite is because people don't know how bad UCLA is yet. Curtis Warwick at quarterback, great transfer from Ohio. James Madison transfers coming in to Indiana. This is why Indiana's been able to have success to start the season, and it hasn't taken 2-3 years to get rolling. Because Kurt Cignetti, best hire they had, maybe he'll stay there another couple years before he goes to Notre Dame and hopefully do something, get Indiana to a really good level. I think this line is small. That's just how I feel. I think Indiana, we said it in our preview video, as you can see on our YouTube channel, how good, how I thought this would be a surprise team. So I think they will surprise people with how much they win by against UCLA and take off in the Big Ten and be a very competitive team. It should be very interesting. So that's what we got. 15 previews, not bad. 40 minutes, you know. I'm glad you guys were able to hang through it all. Have a great time. Remember the Titans. Not a good idea to insult your offensive line, Mr. Sanders, but, you know, your dad does, so you're going to. It's just going to roll downhill. That's why some coaches in their second year, like Colorado State, you see the progress. Colorado, you see nothing. So I guess that's what we got for everything. We'll see you guys in the next video. Remember, sportshatballs.com is named my site. Get your 4 days for free because you missed half of it. When you don't get in by Monday, you can miss 2, 3, 4 picks because we like to do some of our stuff early. But we still have 1, 2, 3, 5 games, 5 plays that you will get when you sign up for a 6. Yeah, 1 tonight too. So 6 plays during your free days. And there's a good chance we're going to add more as lines keep moving in our direction. We can just wait and bet late. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. I really appreciate you guys having a great time with us here. And we'll see you guys in the next video. We're going to do this every Friday. Try to do a video where we're breaking down a ton of games, whether it's 10, 15, 25. Bonus Oregon State. I did not write much up about. There's the recency bias, I would say, on Oregon. On Oregon not crushing people because they could only beat Idaho by 10, even though they dominated. They could only beat Boise State by 3, who's better than people think. So now you're sitting with an Oregon State team coming off a shutout win. Not sure they're in the right spot because Jonathan Smith has gone to Michigan State. I don't have a big feel about Oregon State. I know Oregon defensive speed could really take over like it did last year against Oregon State. So I would just say I would not want Oregon State in this situation. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. Pick up your sports pick packages. Get your 4 days free. SportsHatBalls.com. And let's make money.